12 R&B legends. Songs you've heard 1,000 times. But here's what most people don't know. They didn't write them. Whitney Houston's most iconic vocal performance, written by a country singer as a goodbye letter to her boss. Aretha Franklin's feminist anthem, a man wrote it about demanding respect from a woman. Singing clear and strong, strumming my bass. These aren't covers. These aren't samples. These are original recordings of songs that somebody else created. And the stories behind who actually wrote them, some of these will genuinely surprise you. Stay with me. Number 12. Number 12, Dionne Warwick, Walk On By. You've heard this song at every wedding reception, every slow dance, every moment someone needed to feel something, but Dionne Warwick didn't write a single word of it. Burt Bacharach composed the music. Hal David wrote the lyrics. And here's what's interesting about their process. They recorded Walk On By in the same session as Anyone Who Had a Heart. Two classics, same afternoon, neither one written by the woman singing them. Now you really gotta go, so walk on by. The label released it as a B-side. They thought the A-side was the hit. But a New York DJ named Murray the K refused to flip the record. He kept playing Walk On By until the label gave in and made it the single. It hit number 6 on the pop charts, number 1 R&B. In Dionne, she recorded over 50 songs with Bacharach and David, became the voice of their music. Each time I see you, I break down and cry. But she was interpreting their vision, not her own. That's the thing about great singers. Sometimes the gift isn't writing the song, it's making you forget someone else did. Number 11, Patti LaBelle, Lady Marmalade. Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? You know the hook. Everybody knows the hook, but here's what Patti LaBelle admitted years later. She had no idea what those French words meant when she recorded it. Bob Crewe wrote the song after a trip to New Orleans. Kenny Nolan helped with the lyrics. They recorded their own version first with a group called 11th Hour. Didn't chart. Nobody cared. Then Alan Toussaint produced it with LaBelle. The Meters played on the track. And that New Orleans funk they brought to it, that's what made it explode. November 1974. Number 1 pop in R&B. The first time a song with that kind of explicit French invitation topped the American charts. And here's the kicker. The same week Lady Marmalade hit number 1, it knocked off Frankie Valli's My Eyes Adored You, also written by Bob Crewe. The man replaced himself at the top of the charts using a completely different artist. Patti made it iconic, but she was singing someone else's story about a New Orleans encounter she never had. Real talk, only 9% of you watching this are actually subscribed. That hurts a little, not gonna lie. We spend hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life because this music deserves to be remembered. And you're here because you care about that too. So if these videos mean something to you, if you've ever said, damn, I didn't know that, or felt something while watching, just hit subscribe. It's free, takes 2 seconds, and it tells YouTube to show this to more people who love this music like we do. Let's build this together. All right, back to the story. Number 10, Al Green, Take Me to the River. I wanna know, tell me. Now this one's a little different. Al Green did co-write it. He worked with guitarist Teenie Hodges at High Records in Memphis. But here's the thing. Most people under 50 don't know it as an Al Green song. They know the Talking Heads version from 1978. David Byrne's herky-jerky new wave interpretation. That's the one that crossed over. That's the one that got played on MTV. That's the one that introduced the song to a whole generation that had never heard the original. Al Green wrote it as a gospel-influenced meditation on baptism and redemption. Talking Heads turned it into art rock. Both versions charted, but the cover became more famous than the original. And if you've ever created something meaningful and watched someone else get more attention for their interpretation of your work, you understand that feeling. It doesn't make the original less important, but it does make you wonder who history will remember. Al Green is still touring, still singing Take Me to the River. But ask most people who wrote it, they'll say David Byrne. Number 9, Chaka Khan. I Feel For You.
You tell me you're gonna play it smart.
Chaka Khan, that stutter, that Stevie Wonder harmonica, that Mel rap intro. One of the most recognizable openings in R&B history, but Chaka Khan didn't write it. Prince did. Back in 1979, he recorded it for his self-titled second album. Slow, stripped down, almost unrecognizable compared to what it became.
I need you so I'm ready to go.
The Pointer Sisters covered it in 1982. Still didn't pop. Then Chaka got it, and she hated it at first, specifically that stuttered intro with her name repeated over and over. She thought it sounded gimmicky. Her producers convinced her to trust the arrangement. 1984, number 3 pop, number 1 R&B and dance. 3 million copies sold. Grammy for Best R&B Song. And that Grammy, it went to Prince. As the songwriter, Chaka performed it. Chaka made it a cultural moment. But Prince walked away with the writing credit and the award. He'd been a fan of hers since the Rufus days, wrote it with her voice in mind. But when people talk about I Feel For You, they don't talk about the writer. They talk about the voice.
That we've only just begun.
Number 8, Roberta Flack. Killing Me Softly with his song.
And there he was, this young boy.
This one has a story most people have never heard, and it involves someone who got almost completely written out of history.
I felt he found my letters and read.
Lori Lieberman was 19 years old in 1971. She saw Don McLean perform at the Troubadour in Los Angeles, and she was so moved by his performance that she wrote a poem on a napkin that same night about watching a singer expose her deepest feelings without even knowing she was there.
Killing me softly with his song.
She brought that poem to her songwriting team, Norman Gimbel and Charles Fox.
La 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 la. Oh.
They turned it into Killing Me Softly with his song.
To see him to listen for a while.
Lieberman recorded it first in 1972. Didn't chart. Then Roberta Flack heard it on an airplane. By the time the plane landed, she transcribed every lyric and chord. She called Quincy Jones to track down the writers. Recorded her version in 1973, number 1 for 5 weeks, 2 Grammys, including Record of the Year. the defining version.
Softly with this song, killing me softly.
And Lori Lieberman, the woman whose poem started everything, she was denied writing credit. Gimbel and Fox kept it for themselves. Lieberman spent the next 50 years fighting to have her contribution recognized.
He had a style, and so I came.
Roberta Flack made it eternal. But the song literally exists because a teenage girl watched Don McLean and felt something she couldn't keep inside.
Birds killing me softly with this.
Number 7, Marvin Gaye, I Heard It Through the Grapevine. This is the song that almost never came out, and when it finally did, it wasn't supposed to be Marvin's. Norman Whitfield and Barrett Strong wrote it in 1966. Motown recorded it with the Miracles first. Berry Gordy rejected it. Too dark, too paranoid, didn't fit the Motown sound. Then Marvin Gaye recorded it in 1967. Gordy rejected it again. Same reasons. Gladys Knight and the Pips got it next, September 1967. Number 2 pop, number 1 R&B for 6 weeks. A genuine hit. And Berry Gordy still wouldn't release Marvin's version. Here's what changed. Marvin put his recording on an album as a deep cut. A radio station in Chicago, WVON, started playing the album track. Listeners went crazy. The demand got so loud that Gordy finally released it as a single. October 1968. Number 1 for 7 weeks. Motown's biggest selling single up to that point. The version Berry Gordy kept rejecting became bigger than the version he approved. And Marvin, he was singing someone else's words about betrayal and suspicion. But he made you believe he'd lived every second of it. Number 6, Michael Jackson, Rock With You. The Off the Wall album changed everything. Michael Jackson stepping out of the Jackson 5 shadow, becoming the solo artist who would eventually become the biggest star on the planet. But 3 of the biggest songs on that album, he didn't write any of them. Rod Temperton did, a white British keyboardist from a band called Heatwave. Quincy Jones discovered him and pulled him into Michael's orbit. Rock With You was originally written for Heatwave. They passed on it. Rod offered it to Karen Carpenter. She turned it down. Michael Jackson recorded it, and it spent 4 weeks at number 1. But here's the thing that still blows my mind. Quincy Jones asked Temperton to submit songs for the album. Temperton sent 3. Jones didn't pick one. He took all 3. Rock With You, Off the Wall, and later, the title track from Thriller. Rod Temperton wrote some of the most iconic songs in pop history. Most people have never heard his name. When he died in 2016, the tributes all said the same thing. The man behind the music nobody knew was there. Michael Jackson became a legend, singing Rod Temperton's songs. That's not a criticism, that's collaboration. But it's worth knowing who built the foundation. Number 5, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Midnight Train to Georgia. Not so long ago. This song started as Midnight Plane to Houston, not Georgia, Houston. And it was written about someone completely different. That live without him in mind. Jim Weatherly was a songwriter in Los Angeles. He called his friend Lee Majors one night, the $6 million man. Farrah Fawcett answered. She said Lee wasn't home because she was taking the midnight plane to Houston to visit her family. Weatherly hung up and wrote the song that night about a woman leaving L.A. to go back home. Cissy Houston recorded it first in 1972, and she changed it. Her people were from Georgia, not Texas, and they didn't take planes. They took trains. Midnight plane to Houston became midnight train to Georgia. I'd rather live in his world. Gladys Knight heard that version and knew she had to record it. 1973, number one pop and R&B. Grammy for Best R&B Vocal Performance by a Duo, Group, or Chorus. And the Pips on that record, they're backing vocals. Leaving on a midnight train. Going back to find a simpler place in time. That call and response became as iconic as the lead. Kept dreaming. Ooh, that someday. Jim Weatherly wrote a song inspired by Farrah Fawcett's travel plans. Gladys Knight turned it into a story about sacrifice and going home. The writer gave it bones. The singer gave it a soul. He couldn't make it, so he's leaving the life. Number 4, Tina Turner. What's Love Got to Do with It? It's physical. This song got rejected by everyone. And I mean everyone. Got to do with it. Who needs a heart? Terry Britton and Graham Lyle wrote it. They offered it to Cliff Richard. He said no. They sent it to Donna Summer. She sat on it for months, never recorded it. Phyllis Hyman wanted it, but her label refused. Bucks Fizz considered it, but thought it was too mature for their audience. By the time it reached Tina Turner, she didn't want it either. She thought it was too soft, too produced, not her sound. Her manager, Roger Davies, convinced her to try it anyway. She was 44 years old, coming off a decade of struggle after leaving Ike. Nobody expected a comeback, especially not with someone else's pop song. But a second-hand emotion. What's love? August 1984, number one for 3 weeks. Tina Turner became the oldest solo female artist to top the Hot 100 at that point. 3 Grammys, including Record of the Year. A song that everyone rejected, performed by a woman the industry had written off, and it became the defining moment of her entire solo career. Then I'm acting confused when you're close to me. Britton and Lyle wrote a good song. Tina Turner turned it into a resurrection. Number 3, Aretha Franklin, Respect. RESPECT. You know it. Your parents know it. Your grandparents know it. But here's what a lot of people don't realize. A man wrote it, and not just any man. Otis Redding. 1965. He recorded Respect as a song about a working man coming home and demanding his due from his woman. That was the original intent. A man asking for respect. Aretha flipped it completely. She changed the gender dynamics, added the spelling hook that didn't exist in Otis's version, threw in Sock It To Me and TCB, taking care of business. She transformed a man's demand into a woman's declaration. Number 1 pop and R&B for multiple weeks, became an anthem for both the civil rights movement and the feminist movement simultaneously. And Otis Redding, he heard Aretha's version and said, "May, that girl took that song from me." But he said it with admiration. He knew what she'd done. She hadn't just covered his song, she'd claimed it. Otis wrote it, Aretha owned it, and that's the difference between singing a song and inhabiting it. Number 2, Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You. Dolly Parton wrote this song in 1973, and here's the context most people miss. It wasn't a love song, not the way you think. It was a professional breakup letter.
I know I'll think of you.
Dolly was leaving Porter Wagoner's television show to pursue a solo career.
And
she wrote I Will Always Love You as her goodbye to him, a business partner, a mentor, the man who gave her a platform and the man she needed to leave behind. She recorded it twice, hit the country charts both times, but it stayed in the country lane until 1992. Kevin Costner suggested it for the Bodyguard soundtrack. Whitney was pregnant with Bobby Christina during the sessions. The label wanted to cut the a cappella opening. Whitney and Costner refused.
that's all I am taking.
November 1992, number 1 for 14 weeks. The longest run at the top by a female artist at that time, best-selling single by a woman ever. Over 20 million copies worldwide. Dolly Parton said she made enough from Whitney's version to buy Graceland. And when Whitney died in 2012, the song re-entered the charts.
Love you.
They played it as her casket left the church. Dolly wrote a goodbye to her boss. Whitney turned it into the most devastating vocal performance of a generation.
Your way.
Number 1, Luther Vandross, A House Is Not a Home.
Good night.
Burt Bacharach and Hal David again. They wrote this in 1964 for the movie of the same name.
And a house is not a home when the two.
Dionne Warwick recorded the original version. It charted modestly. Nobody thought about it for 17 years.
When it is, it is.
Then Luther Vandross put it on his debut album, Never Too Much. And he didn't just sing it, he deconstructed it, extended it, built an 8-minute testimony out of a 3-minute standard. The version you know from Slow Jams radio. The version you've heard at wedding receptions and anniversary dinners. That sustained note on home that seems to last forever. That's Luther taking someone else's blueprint and constructing a cathedral.
Even when there's no.
Here's what gets me. Bacharach and David wrote songs for Dionne Warwick that topped charts and won Grammys. But their most emotionally devastating interpretation came from a man they never wrote for.
Please be there saying that you're still in love.
Luther didn't need to write his own material to become the definitive voice of romantic soul. He just needed to find the right songs and pour himself into them completely.
It's not a house.
Bacharach built the house. Luther made you never want to leave. That's the list.